with Charlie and Brenda.
Hi, Charlie.
You remember that?
I do. With the best times of my life, I think.
Well, thank you.
Good Sunday mornings.
Art Lewis is allowing me to sit for a few minutes and talk with the special guest we have as part of our 75th anniversary celebration, which officially yesterday was the on-air date of August 11, 1950. And throughout the years, we've had many voices, many personalities, and one of those we have in front of us now. That would be you, Brenda.
That would be me. Hi.
Started out as Frank, turned into Wilson.
Correct.
That's one of the big things that happened with you from where you started with us as a single young woman.
I was 21 when I started here. I was unmarried. When I left here, I was married and I had a child. So, yes, lots of changes that happened while I was here.
Brenda's one of the personalities, especially throughout the 1990s, that was with us in a lot of different ways, including, I made a reference to First Day. Last hour, if you were listening, to Randy Howell and Cameron Knowles, who actually started the First Day program.
Right. They were the pioneers.
And then once Randy left, I took over, actually hosting with Cameron. And then you stepped in.
Yep.
And, yeah, we had a lot of fun over the past
the rest is history.
Couple of years.
We did.
Later on this hour, we're going to have some more fun, too, because we're going to have another person that you actually worked with.
That's right. I'm excited to hear from her.
And I actually did First Day with her for a few years. Christine Mahoney.
I know. Amazing.
We'll talk to her in just a few minutes, but let's talk to you, Brenda. You started in, what year was it here? In
1990. 1990.
Yes. So 35 years ago. You actually started when I started here.
Crazy, isn't it? Crazy.
Who knew?
I know.
Although you were in a different place than I was in this building.
I was. So I started in research for our sister station, right? Making phone calls, figuring out the playlist, what songs people like to listen to, what songs they did not want to listen to. Did that for, I think, a year and a half. And then a receptionist job opened up. Remember Anne-Marie?
Yes.
Yes. Anne-Marie was moving on to work with Jackie. And so they said, would you be interested in this job? And I was like, yes, if I only have to answer the phones instead of calling people who hang up on me, I would love to do that job. So I moved into receptionist. I did that. Yes, I did that for, I think, maybe at least a year. And the funniest thing ever, Mr. Casey, John Casey, who was our general manager at the time, he liked my voice when I announced over the PA system. He liked it when I said, John Casey, you have a call on 50. John Casey, 50, please. And he came to me and said, I want to put you on the radio. And I was like, what? What are you even talking about? I was in school at SVSU at the time, and I was getting an English and communications degree focused on journalism, but writing, like written journalism, not broadcast journalism by any means. That wasn't, I love to write. And so we talked to Dave Maurer, and we came over, and here I was. He's put me on trade line with Ted Maddox, my trade line buddy. And then Dave introduced me to the news sector, and I was a reporter and an anchor and all of those crazy fun things. Isn't that wild?
And here I thought it was the news. I missed the research part of it as well as the reception part of it.
Yes.
I want to go back to the research for just a moment because it's a great bit of history. Again, it was with our sister station at the time.
Yep. Rick Belcher.
But yeah, I mean, that was there was a whole group.
Yes, there was. We had that cubby or a bunch of cubbies over there in one of those rooms, and we would sit there all night long, and we would make phone calls, and we would say, do you like this song? Do you not like this song? Do you love this song? Do you hate this song? And it was fun. It was frustrating. It was different. And you had to be quiet about it. You know what I mean? It was kind of a covert operation because we didn't want everyone to know that that was us that was calling. And that is how the playlist came to be. They used that information, all that data.
And we weren't the only radio station doing that.
Nope, we were not. There was a lot of them at the time.
Yeah, big on that.
Yeah, it was all manual.
What a start that was!
I know it was
goodness.
Fun. It's art.
You want your chair back?
No.
I'll escape, but I appreciate you allowing me to start.
I just wanted to hear you two together again.
Thank you.
I miss those days.
I know, me too.
Also, do you remember for a short period of time, we hosted an afternoon program together?
We did host an afternoon program together.
Yes.
You are correct. Oh, my goodness. I forgot about that one. Yes, very short.
Yeah, well, that's because I sucked.
No, I think it was me.
Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie. Oh, I love you guys. So much fun.
So, Brenda, fondest memory?
Well, honestly, sitting in this exact same spot where I am right now, I got engaged on the air on WSGW Trade Line.
We have that note.
Yes.
Ted Maddox was the host.
Correct. So Ted and Scott, my husband, they schemed to do this over the air. I mean, cell phones were very new at the time, right?
Bag phones.
Yes, bag phones, exactly. And so Scott was going to call in, which he did, and he called in, and Ted answered. He knew it was him. Scott was in the parking lot, and he said, I'm not selling anything today, because that was trade line, buy and sell on the airways, right?
Yeah.
He said, but I'm looking for something. And Ted was like, oh, great. What are you looking for? And he's like, well, I'm looking for a woman. And right at the start, I was like, whoa, this guy's nuts. Hang up the phone. Because sometimes you get, you get some
had our
callers.
share.
Yeah, exactly. So, and Ted's like, really? What kind of woman? And Scott goes into this long this long monologue of, well, I want someone who's fun and who laughs at my jokes and who doesn't get mad when I go hunting every weekend. And I'm thinking, at that point, I should have figured out who it was. But I'm like, well, Ted, why are you not hanging up on this guy? And all of a sudden he says, Brenda. And I'm like, this guy knows me. And I look up, and in the fishbowl right there, Scott is standing, holding a cell phone in one hand, holding a ring box in the other hand. His hands are shaking because he's so nervous. And he says, will you marry me? And literally, I am stunned. Like, dead air is the worst thing you want. And it was dead air.
Well, there are times
And
when
he's-
it's poignant.
Right. And he's like, Brenda? And I said, yes. And right when I said that, his cell phone cut out. And he was gone, so we couldn't even talk to him anymore. And Ted was like, well, that's history. We just had our first engagement on the air. And the funny thing about it was, so Scott comes in afterwards, and we talked to some listeners afterwards, and there's nobody here. It's nighttime, right? The cleaning lady is here. We popped a bottle of champagne with the cleaning lady, and we had a toast. Oh, such good times. And the best thing about it, Ted taped it. We have it on cassette. And so we can listen to it anytime we want to, which every once in a while.
Best thing is it lasted.
Well, that is true. 30 years this September.
Yeah.
Crazy town.
It is amazing.
Isn't that fun? It was so great.
Things we did, a lot of that in the days when there were just two stations here, IOG and SGW. And Sue Smith is going to be in later this week, was responsible for getting a lot of that stuff done.
Right.
Marriages and, all kinds of stuff.
I remember. Yeah. Sue's the one who got me here, actually. I was working at La Senorita for Scott, her husband.
For her husband, right.
And I had knee surgery, and they didn't want me going back to working there anymore. And she said, come work at the radio stations. There's openings. And I was like, okay. And
research,
that's where I went to research. Yep. Yeah.
And in those days, for those that don't know, the research department was for IOG.
Correct.
Music research.
Correct.
And there were 6 or 7 people in that room.
There were. Yep. We were stuffed in that little room. Yep. We would get takeout, and Mr. Casey would come down. He'd be like, what smells like onions? Because we'd have takeout dinners for each other. It was hilarious. Oh, those were fun times.
They were fun times.
They were.
They were good times.
I still keep in touch with several of those research people.
Do you really?
Too. Yes. Very cool.
No kidding.
They still call me Ashley from Metro Research, because that was my...
nobody used their own names.
That's right. Yep. You had to use a different one. Too fun.
Think of it as the early days of spam, folks.
Right. Yeah, it was. What did I say? It was mass marketing or collar before it was even popular. You know what I mean? Yeah. So,
all right, we're going to take a quick break. Come back. We are talking to Brenda Wilson, part of this team for many, many years, and as we celebrate our 75th, we'll also be talking to Christine Mahoney. We'll be chatting with her in a little while. All coming up here on the Art Lewis Show, where it's 10:20.
Hi, this is Matt Travis, President and
All right, we're back with you, and we are chatting with Brenda Wilson, part of our staff in the past. So we celebrate 75 years of WSGW. Coming up in a few minutes, too, we'll talk to someone who was here in the 92-93 period, Christine Mahoney, who went on to a whole list of jobs.
yes, she did.
You worked with Christine,
I
right?
did.
Yeah.
I did. Yep. She was in the newsroom when I was in the newsroom.
So you were you started out in the research department.
Correct.
Calling people up and prying into their music
Exactly.
tastes.
Yes.
And then you moved on to what?
Receptionist.
You were receptionist for a while.
Anne Marie, remember Anne Marie?
Oh, yeah.
She was going to work with Jackie. They were moving her on into that department, and they asked if I would be interested, and I was like, heck yeah, get out of here. I love to do that. So I went to receptionist, and I was there for I think about a year and a half, doing that. And like I was telling Charlie, Mr. Casey liked my voice apparently, and he asked me to move on to the radio. And I thought, really? That was never on my bingo card, but here I am. And so we moved on and did Trade Line, and I was a news reporter, an anchor for Dave Maurer, and life was good.
And you did Trade Line.
Everybody loved Trade Line. Art. It was so
two
fun.
shows I'd love to forget: Trade Line and Quiz Line.
Too funny. Oh, I loved Quiz Line too. Too fun.
I did those with Chris Mendel for a while.
Yes. Yep.
And it was just,
I know.
I don't know.
It was interesting. It was never a dull moment.
Well, it was
that's for
interesting.
sure. Yes.
Quiz Line was probably more fun than Trade Line was.
Yes. Trade Line was cool though. There was a lot. I mean, you helped a lot of people, and people talked about it for years afterwards when it was gone. So.
Well.
Yeah, you
That's
get
nothing
used to
like
things.
listen to the missus.
No.
I get questions every day.
I'm
Listen
sure
to the
you
missus.
do. I'm sure you do. I filled in on that with you a couple times.
Yep,
I remember
yep.
you called me Listen to the Miss, and I said, nobody wants to hear anything about cooking from me. I will read it to you off of the computer. That is
Yeah.
it. Yes.
I remember those days. Sue Smith will be in Wednesday.
Awesome.
I think Wednesday. I don't know. Good
Cool.
Sue
You
coming
got so
in.
many people.
Yeah,
coming.
Wednesday.
Okay.
Tomorrow.
Awesome.
So anyway, so then you went into the news department, and you did that how long?
I did that for 6.5, 7 years. Yeah, it was a long time.
You were here quite a while.
I was.
I mean,
I was here from 1990 until I think 98, maybe the beginning of 99. Jake was like 1.5 when I left here. So, yeah.
So the 90s, you pretty
Yep.
much covered the 90s.
Pretty
here
much.
at WSGW.
Yes. I missed the 2000 craziness when everything was supposed to end.
I remember that. I was sitting here, and there's a TV right outside our door here, and it was on, and first plane had struck the World Trade Center, and looked up, and there went the second one, and I went, "Ooh,
What?
well,
Yes. This was not
might
an
as well
accident.
plan for long-form coverage because we won't be
Amen.
doing anything."
Amen. Yes. I know. Those were not
Those
good
were
days.
Not good days. No,
No.
they were. It's funny. In tragedy, there's always a silver cloud. For radio, coverage was great.
They were busy days, yes.
Busy
and busy
days,
days are
yeah.
good days, yes.
So and then that's the beauty of this communication device is the ability to instantly
It is. It is.
go to it, report on it.
Yep. We lived by the television that sat out there and the scanner that sat out there. That is
Yeah,
what, that
there's
is
still
what
a
we watched
scanner
and
out there,
listened to.
although we don't use it as much anymore. But it's still out there.
Yeah.
A different one, but
Sure.
they were the lifeblood. And at one time, of course, the fax machine, we get faxes.
Correct.
And the teletype, the Associated
Yep.
Press
Associated
machine.
Press. Yep. I was here for that. Yep. We had reel to reel. We had carts. We had all of the good old fashioned things that you guys don't even remember anymore. Everything's right on that computer screen. It's kind of a beautiful thing, the way things change. But
Well, yes and no. I mean, it's for an old goat like me, and I've had to adapt over the years because this is not the same business I got into.
for sure.
But if you want to stay in it, you go with the flow. I mean,
I'm proud of you.
What's your choice?
I'm proud of you because does not appeal to me. I'm not a big change person.
I am. I kind of think it's fun,
It is cool for you.
but it's challenging at the same time because, well, to give you an idea, when I came here in '74, I was the only, other than the engineers who worked out at the transmitter site, I was the only one with a first-class license, engineering license.
Right.
When I took my test with the FCC, it was all tubes.
Wow.
There's no solid state.
Wow. That's
all
insane.
tubes. And today, what's a tube?
Yeah, not a tube to be found. Mm-mm.
Not a tube to be. Well, the transmitter still
Sure,
has tubes.
sure.
But, well, that's not true. Even the AM transmitter is all solid state, but there are still tubes and transmitters. So times have changed, and we had, as you mentioned, there were tape machines and cart machines and cassette machines everywhere, and turntables. Remember those?
Right. Yep. I carried around a little cassette recorder with a little a corded microphone to it.
Yep.
It was hooked to it.
Yep.
No
Those
wireless. Yep. I
Those-
remember one time I was covering a bank robbery, and you were on the air, and they wanted me to go live with you. So I had my microphone and I had my tape recorder, because I want to make sure I'm getting all the background noise. And I am literally ducking behind one of our news cars on Weiss Street by Bay Road because the SWAT team is going into the dry cleaners and you're asking me questions and I'm trying to whisper because I don't want to get shot. It was crazy. But all the equipment that you had to have with you was what was crazy. The bag phone and, you know.
Well, I used to do ride-alongs with the state police, and I'd take the MARTA unit. So I'd have to load a big car battery in their back seat and then put the MARTA unit back there.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, those were the days.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of those were the days, another person who spent time with us in 92 and 93 was Christine Mahoney, and we say good morning to Christine now. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Well, we're fine, and Brenda Wilson's with us this morning, too.
Hi, Christine. I'm so glad to hear from you.
Hi, Brenda. I know we're still friends after all these years.
I know,
it's so
we
cool.
are. Isn't that so wonderful?
So let me tell you, folks, the Christine Mahoney story here. She was a news anchor reporter here at WSGW after she graduated from Colorado. Then she became a reporter at Mid-Michigan Now. Then she became a reporter, news anchor at NEM TV. And then she went to KTNV, Channel 13, Las Vegas. From there, a freelance reporter for Fox 40, a former morning show anchor at Fox 5 Las Vegas, former freelance reporter CBS Colorado, former adjunct journalism professor at University of Colorado Boulder, former internship and career coordinator at CU Boulder's CMCI Journalism, former public information officer spokesperson for the CUPD at the University of Colorado, former assistant director at employer engagement at UNLV Career Services, former communications consultant at University of Colorado Boulder, former director of communications, University of Colorado Boulder, and now director of public information at the College of Charleston. Ladies and gentlemen, a woman who cannot hold a job.
I was just thinking, either this is illustrious or terribly embarrassing, but I think it's
No, it was a good progress.
I'm always looking. Exactly. I'm always looking for the next chapter. And I mean, I have to credit everything to WSGW for giving me my start.
Well, this was your first job out of Colorado, wasn't it?
It was. I came right after graduating. It was the winter,
92.
January 1992. Yep. And I just decided to stop by the station, knocked on the door, came in. Dave Maurer gave me an interview. Mr. John Casey walked down the hall. Again, I heard you, Brenda, saying, he liked certain voices.
Correct.
And he stopped in the doorway and he said, Dave, hire this girl.
Yeah, that's the way it worked.
Was it. I was in.
That's the way it worked.
And that was that.
All right, Christine, hold on. We'll come back to you, and Brenda Wilson with us in studio as we celebrate the 75th anniversary of WSGW Radio, which was yesterday, but we celebrate all week, bringing back folks who have been a part of it.
Working in news of any sort has a pretty crazy schedule. And, although I do still say one of my first things, my best things ever was First Day with Charlie Rood. There were a couple times where Charlie had to give me a call. It was pretty early in the morning, and he'd say, "Are you coming in today?"
Been there, done that.
You did it with him too, Brenda. Right?
Yes. One time, this is a good one.
Did that happen to you, Brenda?
It did every once in a while. And one time, it was the time change, right? And I had been out with friends the night before. I had barely gotten any sleep. I rolled in here at 5:30 in the morning, and Pete Sigleric was on overnight. And I heard him say to Charlie, should we tell her that the time change happened? Because it was really only 4:30 in the morning. I was so mad. I went into that newsroom and laid on the floor and took a nap for an hour because I was so tired. Those hours, they were killer. And after having kids, it was much worse. I get you, girl.
So now you find yourself.
That's what happened.
You find yourself now at the College of Charleston. Is that South Carolina?
It is.
The Charleston,
it is
my
in the
favorite
heart
city,
of downtown Charleston.
One of my favorite cities on earth. Used to go there every year for the Southeastern Wildlife Expo. They had a big show in like February every year. But it's a great,
it's beautiful,
great city. Are you settled now? I mean, you're going to be here for a while, or?
Yes, I think this is a really good fit for me. It's a really good spot. I've been actually visiting here for about 25 years because my uncle, who is from Michigan, from Bay City, has lived here for a long time. So I had been coming down here to visit, and I just fell in love with the place. And after living in Colorado for 20-some years and living in Michigan before that, I finally decided I am ready for some warmer weather and just a kind of an easier style. So I think Charleston's going to stick.
Well, stay off the Battery when there's a hurricane.
I really do.
Yeah,
Stay away from the Battery when there's a hurricane.
Yep.
You know, it's
She hasn't experienced that yet.
No doubt. No doubt. Yep. It's hurricane season right now. And I said, this will be my first one. And I'm hoping it's not a doozy. But part of my role here is to share crisis and emergency communications. So
yeah.
if need be, I'll be
Doing
sending
what
out
you
messages.
do. Yeah, you'll be reporting.
Doing what I do. Just like the old news days, for
Right?
sure.
So, you know, you were only here for a short time, a year thereabouts. What was your fondest memory of SGW?
Oh, my goodness. Well, there are so many. I mean, when I first started, I remember Dave Maurer sitting with me for hour after hour after hour in the voiceover booth and just coaching me on my voice and cadence and delivery and enunciation and pronunciation and everything. And that it really made a difference to me that he would spend so much time, you know, making sure that I could do the best job that I could do.
He was good at that. He was good at
very
developing.
generous.
A great mentor.
Good at developing talent.
And patience.
Yeah.
The man had the patience. Oh, my goodness.
Yes. He's like, read it again, read
Right.
it again, read it again.
Mm-hmm.
And we just went over it and over it till it was right. And I so appreciated that. So that was that's like a warm, fuzzy moment for sure. One of my most memorable stories was going out to Saginaw Bay to cover, it was an ice rescue where the Coast Guard was going out to rescue some folks who had floated out to sea while ice fishing. And I got to go on the Coast Guard helicopter with them. It was pretty exciting. And then, you know, I got to interview the folks who had been rescued off the ice, like firsthand, you know, the first person they saw. And I had my little tape recorder ready and my microphone ready and ready to go. And there was another thing on the ice where I believe Cameron Knowles was anchoring and I was out reporting, and I was rather new to the area, and I accidentally drove the news car out a little too far onto the ice because I couldn't tell what was the parking lot and what was ice. And I'm talking to Cameron live on the air, and I heard this incredible cracking sound.
Oh, no.
And I said, oh, no, I think I'm on ice. And Cameron goes, Cameron says, back up, back up, back up. So this was all live on the air. It was pretty exciting. Everything was fine, and I did not destroy the news car, which was good.
It's a good thing because we still have those news cars. Well, Christine, look, we first of all, thank you for spending some time with us this morning, and wish you well in your new job as public information at the College of Charleston, and have yourself a great life. But thanks for spending time with us.
Thank you for inviting me, and congratulations on the 75th anniversary. It's so good to hear everyone's voices, and thanks again.
Thank you.
Bye, Christine.
Bye-bye now.
Bye, Brenda. Take care.
Yep. Christine Mahoney, and we thank her for being with us today. We'll be back to finish up with Brenda after these notes.
Before you hit the road this summer.
After that, while my kids were growing up, I would work a lot in their school. Like I would volunteer and I would read to the kids and do different things. And one day I said to Scott, I think I want to be a teacher. And he was like, seriously, you are 36 years old. And I was like, I know, but. And so I went back to school and got a teaching certification. And I was the kindergarten teacher at Bethlehem Lutheran for 13 years. And now I am the principal, and this will be my 6th year I'm going into.
So how did we get to be an administrator?
Right. So it was during COVID, and our administrator at the time was moving on, and they asked me to be an interim to share that job with another teacher that was there, and we said yes. And so we did that for a year while I was still teaching. And along that way, people kept saying to me, parents and congregation members, and you're so good at this, you should keep doing this. And I was like, no, thank you. I'm not interested. First of all, I didn't even have the qualifications, right? I was a kindergarten teacher. And as time went on, I thought, well, God, you must be talking to me. So I listened, and I moved into that role and left my kindergartners in very capable hands. And so I've been doing that now. This was my 5th year I just finished, and working into year 6. Crazy. Never, ever, ever anything I thought would be happening, but it's a beautiful thing. I love it, and that's where I'm going to retire from. And like I told you earlier, I always thought that radio would be my retirement job, so watch out. In
She'll be back.
In 4 years, I may be back, but I don't want early morning hours, please.
That's my retirement job, too. I just
Right?
don't plan to retire.
Exactly. That works, too.
So what's the difference between being in the classroom with a bunch of kindergartners and sitting in an office?
Not much. Sometimes I say that some of my older students are just kindergartners with hormones. So there is a lot more parent interaction, right? Before I only had to deal with the parents of 15 students, and now I have to deal with the parents of 150 students. So that's a little different. The times have changed. You know what I mean? Schooling is different. Parents have different expectations, and we just try to do our best to meet those and love their kids and keep them safe. That's a big thing, too.
And how is it hiring teachers? Can you find them?
Teachers are hard. We had some changes this year, and good teachers get scooped up very quickly. So it's a search. I worked for a few months and had to do some wrangling and moving people from classroom to classroom to make it work, but we did it. We're fully staffed again this year, so with some great faculty. So I'm looking forward to another great year at Bethlehem.
So, Saginaw, your home?
Yes. Yep.
Born and raised?
I was born in Westland, adopted when I was a baby. My parents,
Oh, yeah.
Yep, they were from Frankenmuth, the Frankenmuth area. They told me to tell you hi. They both used to travel with you and Linda
Yep.
a lot and the tour company. Some good times that they had with you guys. And so we moved to Saginaw when I was starting preschool. So I've been here since I was 3 or 4 years old.
So what got you to WSGW?
Sue Smith. I was working at La Senorita for Scott.
Right.
And I had knee surgery. I tore something in my knee, and the doctors did not want me going back to being on my feet all the time because it's a tough job. And Sue said, you should come work for the radio station. We have openings in our research department. And I had no idea what that was.
Nobody else did either.
But it was a radio station, and it sounded cool. And I was like, yes, I'll do that.
Those were the days.
Those were the days, yes. I worked for Renee Andrews. She was our boss in the research department. Love that woman, rest her soul. And we just had a really good time, and it was a great introduction to this building and all the people in it.
It was different.
It was different.
And you were doing music research.
Yes,
at the time,
music
right?
research, yes.
So what would a typical call be like?
So once a week we would play music for them, actually.
Literally on the phone.
Literally on the phone. We had a cassette that was hooked up to our phone system, and we would play a snippet of music. There are still some songs, when I hear them on the radio, I have to change the channel because I heard them so many times. But we had a scale, and they had to rate it, whether from 1 to 10, like it, love it, hate it, that kind of thing. And we would just keep that data, and we would give it to Rick at the time, who was the program director. Yep. And then the rest of the time when we called, we would just ask what stations they listened to. So that was where we got some of our marketing.
It's like doing focus groups without.
Correct.
being
Yes.
there
What
with it.
age are you? Do you want to tell us your income amount? That kind of thing, and just to kind of figure out what we were focusing on. Yes.
Interesting days.
Yes, it was very interesting.
Times gone by.
Times gone by.
Well, Brenda, listen, thank you much for taking time out to come in today.
Thank you for having me. I love you
Your
guys.
principal chair is waiting.
Yes, I know it is. Don't remind me.
And keep in touch.
For sure.
Brenda Wilson, as we celebrate 75 years of WSGW, one of the stalwarts who had been with us for many, many years. We will be back.
It's natural to have questions.
Today we'll be back tomorrow with lots more. And coming up on Focus, we'll learn about Rose Pest Control. Talk to you again.
Broadcasting from the